everybody? Chip here. Carlos also here.
What's up?
And we're back for another episode of the Game High Podcast, where we basically talk about sports, video games, pop culture. Yeah, you know the works. Thank you for joining us. Carlos, so some episode we had last time, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, we just wanted to thank Denise Nicole and Comica PH for partnering with us. We had a nice chat about video games. So thank you so much, Denise and Comica team, for setting this up. Actually, have a very fun time with that episode.
Yeah. Oh, it was again. I think we mentioned dun sa last episode natin. It was the complete opposite, no, of the other episode that we did. It was basically anti-stress, pure fun, pure casual. We had a lot of laughs in that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Had so much fun.
Good. Okay, thank you, Denise, and thank you, Comica. But today, what we have in mind for this episode is the beautiful game, or otherwise known as football. In America, that's called soccer.
Okay.
And we're gonna talk about just so we make sure we're not, talking about American football. So really, soccer, football, yeah. So we're gonna talk about that because of the recent uproar of the European Super League, or the formation of the European Super League. Because I think that, I feel, Carlo, this could be another hard-hitting show, much like the episode we had on Wesley So and the National Athletes.
You know what, Chip? This is the thing.
Wait.
Okay.
Slow down. So, guys, before Carlo here actually gets triggered, chill muna tayo, Carlo. Let's take a deep breath and do our high five for the week, shall we? So, let's have some positivity here muna. Okay? So, for me, I am so excited about this one. So excited to the point that I want to burst into tears. My high five of the week is basically had nothing to do with what I personally experienced. Yung wala akong control. But it's basically because of my Phoenix Suns, who finally have been able to clinch the playoffs for the first time in 11 years. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, that was but I can't describe how great I felt, with that one. I was screaming my ass off at home in the middle of the day during lunch kasi doon ko lang napapanood yung NBA pag nagsispill over. So that was a game against the Clippers when the Suns clinched a playoff spot for this year, first time in 11 years. And then today, they have the number 1 seed tied with the Utah Jazz when they won against the Jazz today by 21 points. Yeah! So that's why I'm so pumped up. I'm so excited, and I can't wait for my Suns to kick ass in the playoffs. So go Suns, rally the valley, let's go! Yeah, that's my high five, man. Seryoso, that's my high five.
Congrats, pre. For them to be clinching the number 1 spot. I think it calls for a kind of a recap already for our last episode regarding our bets, right? So we'll get into that soon as possible. Pero, happy to hear. And typical like our friends, when you posted that on Facebook, nakita ko yung mga responses nila na typical responses nila. Like, na
haters,
trash talk agad.
Yeah, dude. Oh. Haters, man.
Well, and then, you know me.
Yeah.
You know me kasi ako, I really also root for the underdogs. And, not really an underdog right now with the Phoenix Suns the way they're standing. Pero, like what you said, it's been 11 years since they joined or, they have made a playoff appearance. So, yeah, happy for you, pre. Exciting yan. I'm also
yeah, man, it is.
Going to...
What about you?
Yeah, for me, actually, I'd like to change up things lang in a bit when it comes to my high five. This is more of me sharing my positivity to everybody listening. So this is what happened to me in work. I was working on this big presentation. It's a game-changing thing that I'm actually doing. But there was a point wherein I had doubts with myself. Obviously, kasi I'm creating something new. And that's probably the extent of what I can only share. Pero what my positivity is to everybody, if you are having doubts, if you are having any questions about yourself, whether it's professionally or personally, especially these times, right? I mean, stuck at home and so on. Just stick to your guns, stick to what you know, stick to what you are passionate about. And that's a formula that I have used in the past, which got me to, what my place is right now professionally. So, yun lang. Share ko lang with everybody listening in. Just be positive. It's hard to be positive these days. Pero just stick with things that you are really passionate as being a core of a human being that you are. Just go for that. Follow it. Follow what your heart tells you. Follow what your mind tells you. And just go for it. Execute on it.
Anong backstory na to? Curious lang, Carlo. To summarize it, what's the backstory of, your high five? It delved away from our usual high five. Pero quickly, what's the backstory here?
Well, kasi it came from an internal struggle lang, right? Like what I said, may mga personal doubts ako, may mga professional doubts ako. If, like, say, this presentation will work, if my ideas will work. Pero for some reason, I just found it in myself na, okay, if you are, really wallowing in these doubts that you have, it's not gonna come off to anything good, eh. So, I might as well na you have to wrench yourself from that situation and just decide that, okay, gawin ko na lang to. Ito yung alam ko. This is what I know. If I'm open to feedback, that will improve. Then just go for it. Yun lang. I can't obviously share any details siguro ng mga actual details nung sa work ko, no? Pero yun lang yung parang
okay, so medyo confy pala to. Medyo
confidential lang. Pero it's more of the attitude lang.
Yeah. Yung perspective mo that has to do with certain mindset, eh. Yun yung nakikita ko, eh. No? Nice.
Yeah. Nice.
It's actually something we high five. Yeah, it's actually what we need these days, especially in the pandemic. Diba? We are working out.
Yeah.
We're working out how to properly have that, have the correct mindset in spite of the things that have been going on for quite some time. So, it changes perspective. Sometimes, diba?
And it's been a year already,
attitude
right?
adjustment. Correct. All right, cool, man. High five.
High five.
So, let's get to it.
Forfeit. There's no girls in this league. Here, look in the manual. What manual? Listen, pal. You and Illyria, we don't discriminate based on gender.
So, that's Vinnie Jones from She's the Man as a high school football coach. And another memorable role he had was in Eurotrip as one of the football hooligans of Manchester United.
This is a private members bar, exclusively for the supporters of the greatest football team in the world, Manchester United. Now please, enlighten me. Who the are you?
Okay.
Honestly, wala lang. Naalala ko lang siya because he's a badass when it comes to these roles. No?
Where the hell did that come from, man?
Well, kasi pare, it's what we'll talk about, football.
Okay.
It's a sport which some Pinoys are also passionate about more than basketball, actually. And, with that, like you, Carlo, some of us reacted, at least based on my feed, on Facebook, on social media. Some of the people reacted violently, angrily at what transpired in the last 2 weeks. Parang bumalikan na ata yung mundo nila when they, after masaya sila, nagkasweldo, tapos biglang this issue popped up. Diba? 2 weeks ago, magkasweldo. Oh, okay, masaya. And then, bumaliktad kasi because of this issue, right?
No, alak ng
in European football.
Okay,
so guys, ito na, medyo nagiging lumalabas na yung pagka-triggered nung kasamahan ko dito. So, Carlo, ano yan?
Teka lang, pre. So kung kunyari dinala kita sa football match, kumbaga, sa, let's say, mapadpad tayo sa England one of these days. And we watch this game versus United and Liverpool.
In Anfield, sure.
In Anfield. No. In Old Trafford. Pero anyway, let's not argue with that. Pero kunyari, so imagine mo na lang, pre, nanonood kayo ng football game. Tapos maalala mo na lang talaga si Vinnie Jones at sinasabi niya yung mga classic lines na yun. Like, yun ba yung parang nadadala mo every time that you watch football? Nakatawa lang talaga ako eh.
I would say it's parang naging staple na siya na memory. I mean, sure, when Liverpool faces Manchester United, at some point, maalala biglang papasok ko yung that Manchester United song sa Euro trip, you know, in the movie. Maalala mo even though I don't root for Manchester United. Liverpool FC, the best football club in the world. So,
might not feel the same way after this.
Yeah, guys, FYI, this is where the allegiance that we have, which draws the line between me and Carlo. So, if I have another friend's rivalry, parang ganito yung sa amin ni Carlo. No?
Yes.
Yung rivalry sa isang kasamahan namin, that's another story altogether. But anyway, let's cue things back to what I was about to ask you, Carlo. European Super League. The European Super League.
Ay, nako Diyos ko. Okay.
Hence, guys, my friends actually triggered with the same passion that I had 2 episodes ago. FYI. So, Carlo, kwentuhan mo naman us. Like, ako din.
Kwentuhan mo naman us. Okay, I will make kwento, pare.
Yes, Carlo. Kwentuhan us.
I will make kwento, pare. Alright. So, what will I make kwento, pre? Do you want to start me really by going with what's happening right now in the Super League and football and shit?
Okay, then. What's the short or summarized history with regard to the Super League? Because you're more of a football person than I am. Okay. You know this more than I do. So give us what's with the Super League.
Okay, so apologies lang in advance to anyone who's listening. I might have medyo sabog-sabog lang siguro yung thoughts ko. My thoughts might probably be around the place. But the Super League, I started off by writing this in I posted something on our Game High website. You guys should check that out. In summary, and the bottom line of everything that we will be discussing it will never fly. Okay? This Super League na gustong iparating sa European football scene right now is nothing short of a blatant attempt to overtake the football, the beautiful game that is football, with greed. And I'm gonna get into those details later. But the thing about the history about Super League, Chip, is one thing you have to know. This discussion has been going on. I'm not gonna name a specific date because I don't remember it. Pero it has been going on for a long time. It has been going on for a long time.
How long? Like what? 5 years? 10 years?
I would say, I would give or take, say, around 5 years or so.
Really?
Madami
okay, so
ng
5 years.
Madami ng attempts to have a Super League formed just because of revenue.
Seryoso?
Oo, pre.
No, I mean, kasi okay, I'm quite surprised at this because because 2 weeks ago, when I was reading it, parang wala namang there wasn't anything mentioned about the Super League already being planned years ago or a decade ago. How did this come about? I mean, bakit? Kwento.
Okay. So, first of all, the Super League discussions are a breakaway club or a breakaway league that wants to be formed around the European circuit. Yung discussions before, like I said, medyo on the down low lang siya. Because these discussions were already being called by yung mga sportscasters, ex-players and other pundits na this idea cannot fly or even won't take off. So most recently, right, and this is really one of the things that really sucked about this Super League discussion is yung timing. So kalain mo, in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of a global crisis, and again, honestly, football, even though it's a sport, but it is the biggest sport in the world, right? And for it to be an issue that kind of overtook what the news has been happening with, the COVID pandemic and so on, na-overtake siya eh. Ang daming reactions that happen. And the Super League, first of all, is a breakaway league suggestion. So, nagkaroon ng letter of intent with 6 of the biggest football clubs in the in the British or in the UK English Premier League. And nagkaroon, alright, so I don't want to get emotions in muna. Pero the thing is, the 6 clubs, Manchester United, Liverpool
this guy's so
FC.
amped up, guys, FYI. This guy's so amped up right now. Go on.
Liverpool
Manchester
FC.
United, the greatest football club, which is Liverpool FC.
Jesus Christ. Manchester City. And then
I like that.
there's the Spurs. I won't go even to
Tottenham,
Manchester
right?
City. No, Tottenham Hotspurs. But we call them the Spurs anyway. And then there's Chelsea. And then so those are the six, right? Those are the six that have kind of not really initiated. No, they did initiate it, but some other clubs
Arsenal.
from the Spanish Arsenal. Sorry, I forgot about
Arsenal pa. I mean, those were 5 only. Binbilang.
Yeah. Sorry.
Arsenal,
So that's 6. So United, Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Tottenham, Spurs have joined forces, and Arsenal have joined forces with other Spanish and Italian teams. So these are big names ship, right? We have FC Barcelona, Real Madrid from the Spanish La Liga. And then the Italian clubs like Juventus, Inter Milan, and AC Milan from Serie A, from the Italian League. So, ito yung nagkaroon ng ito yung parang original founding members of the Super League if it happened, right? And the intention here is to break away from the Champions League. So,
really?
Correct. So, just to
that
have
was
a quick...
the actual... Meaning talagang parang in a way, it's a snub to the Champions League.
Chong. Chong. It's a snub because it's here's the thing about football in Europe right now and everywhere else actually, even in South America, even in AFC, right? Asian Football Championship or Asian Football Clubs, is meron kang how can I paraphrase this? So kunyari ikaw NBA fan ka, right? So if you are watching your regular season of the NBA, there's what we call in football the English Premiership. So that's the regular season of football for everyone else. So the way this happens is that football in Europe, in South America, and so on, are tiered. So may mga tiers sila. So that's the Premiership. Yung second tier will be the Championship or the second league. The third league, which is the league, or what do you call that league again? Yeah, but there's actually the third league and the fourth league and so on until it reaches the smaller divisions or amateur football divisions. So that's what we call
let's go.
That's what we call the pyramid of division football for everybody. So ngayon, let's say you and I, Chip, form a football club. Na let's call it CFC. CC football team. Magsa-start tayo from the lower.
That didn't sound. That's not the name I'm gonna go for. It doesn't really sound right.
What would you go for?
Liverpool United.
I would be part of that club. Anyway.
Okay, fine.
So let's say
for the sake of argument.
That club that we have formed will start off from the lower rungs, right? So pinaka bottom tayo magsa-start. As we grow, as we build players, as we build our management, we go up, right? Of course, it will depend on the games that we are winning until we eventually reach that pinnacle of what we call the football pinnacle, which is the Premiership, because we get to compete with the best teams out there, right?
So, ito yung Premiership meaning English Premier League.
English Premier League or the EPL.
Okay.
So ngayon, ganun yung format so far, right? We have the Champions League, which is like the best of the European clubs. So they take winners from each division. Like kunyari sa England, they take the champions there. Sa Germany, from Bundesliga, they take champions there, and so on and so on and so on. So they compete to be the actual best club in the world in terms of football. So that's like the parang I would say World Cup ng football for football clubs, basically. So that has been the format, right? And apart from that, there are other leagues that are like nationally for England, may specific lang league lang din sila, which covers all of the divisions and so on with the Spanish and so on. So medyo complicated siya, and I don't want anyone to be confused.
Yeah, it is.
Ngayon, it is confusing. It is confusing. Pero the thing about the Super League is we have those established leagues right now. Pero the Super League intends to break away from all those, of number one, all those mandated, all those official leagues that these clubs are joining into a separate one that will be governed and managed by a group of selected people within the selected organizations. So, magkakaroon ka ng top tier clubs lang, just fighting for amongst themselves, essentially. Maglalaban-laban lang sila. And that's it. There's no rules on promotions. There's no rules on relegations. It's just a matter of, increasing the traffic, increasing the revenue, and increasing the money that these clubs are taking in.
The spotlight is in the top football clubs, di ba?
Correct,
So, because the spotlight will be on the top football clubs, di mas ma-highlight ang Liverpool versus Real Madrid, just like what happened in the World Cup. Oo.
So,
Bayern Munich going up against Manchester United. I mean, in a media standpoint, these are parang a clash of the titans and the thing.
correct.
And that's actually what I thought of nung nakita ko, Super League. And until makita ko yung reaction, wow, ang daming violent reactions pala. But, I mean, that's one good thing. I thought, that's one good thing. What makes that so bad?
Are you asking me what makes that so bad?
Yeah, what makes that so bad?
Okay, there's a couple of points here. So, number one, it completely discredits the merit of, or the essence of football, which is, merit-based football or game. Kasi, the whole point of football right now in Europe and everywhere else in the world is that you have to fight for your place to be there. You are earning your place to be there. So, it's bad because kung wala kang promotion and relegation rules sa Super League, you're just, pitting yourselves against the biggest clubs in the world, and that's it. But you won't have the talent that you can find in other, even if it's in the lower divisions, pero you still have competition. You have to earn your right to be in that specific league. You have to earn your right in the Premier League. You have to earn your right to be in the Champions League. For you to just break away, right? You're just breaking away from those leagues and just naming that, okay, so this is the best clubs right now. These are the best clubs right now, rather. And magkakaroon ka lang ng competition amongst each other without any, threat of relegation. Anong sense nun, right? Anong sense nun for the competition itself, for football itself, and how you guys will develop?
Because the merit-based system of football is the culture that's been already
established.
Has been established rather in EPL, in La Liga,
in its history, in FIFA, and everywhere else, right?
Okay.
Kasi,
even in LATAM countries.
Ganun ang format. Ang Copa Libertadores ng South America, that's the biggest league that they have right now. Yung Copa Libertadores that's also follows the same format. May promotion na relegations din sila for their own yung local championships
so talagang every year wala kang guaranteed slot for the following year, di ba?
Oo. Right now, ang Champions League lang, it can be improved. There's a lot of room for improvement, but the Super League is not the answer to it, right? Kaya nagkaroon ng madaming backlash. Nagkaroon ng madaming uproar, madaming sentiments about it. And you guys, you Chip as well, you guys should check out what Gary Neville has to say because Gary Neville, first of all, is a born and bred, I would say, Manchester United fan and player and pundit right now for Sky Sports. Yeah, you should. Kasi even though he has supported the Manchester United club for 40 years, right? Since kabataan pa niya, right? Part siya nung generation nila Beckham eh. But don't quote me on that because I'm not sure. Pero I know, same lang. Pero Gary Neville has been really voicing out his opinion on how nagkaroon ng disdain for his own club, for his own Manchester United club. He was really renouncing all the things that they have said just because of the Super League breakaway. So yun yung parang basis ko din of what my thoughts are when it comes to the Super League. Kasi it's really motivated by greed right now. And really, football is not just about money. Yun lang yung what these owners that has proposed this proposal to break away is they always have to remember football is not just about money. Even without a Super League, sa daming supporters that a stadium can take in, over 35 to 85,000 supporters at one time. Ang daming pera nun, right?
Malaki.
Ticket sales
malaki
alone.
Yun,
football. Merchandise alone.
Football stadiums, really. And merchandise alone.
Right. And these supporters, like myself, we don't buy merchandise. We don't think about the business behind football because we are diehards, right? It's your parang illogical fanaticism with what clubs you are supporting that drives us to support the club So, parang naging tertiary, parang ang layo pang priority ng pera sa atin. When it comes to supporting your club. Just the same way that, you are supporting your favorite basketball team with the Phoenix Suns. You buy their merchandise because you that's your favorite team, not because you want them to be supported as a business. Yun yung nagkaroon, that's why.
Yeah, okay.
Correct. Mm-hmm. So, nagkaroon ng sentiment amongst all fans, right? All fans in the football space na this won't fly. Which leads me to my good news na hindi naman siya ngayon right now medyo nag-die down na yung issue. I would have to say. Nag-die down na.
Quickly, I think 48 hours after the news broke out that, with regard to the formation of the European Super League, right, there were teams who withdrew, who have withdrawn their slots in the ESL.
Right.
And it quickly it quickly disappeared like a bubble, diba?
Thank God, right? Thank God. It's far from over, but thank God, yeah.
Yun nga, it's far from over because, there are certain news outlets. I don't know kung anong intention nila of saying it's far from over, this is not yet done, etc., etc. Pero why is it that these media outlets have planted certain seeds of doubt that the ESL being dissolved right now is actually far from being done?
Because money talks. First of all, money talks lang talaga.
As simple as that.
The owners of these clubs right now are not when I say owners, these are the majority shareholders, right? So, football right now is a big business. Big business naman talaga siya, to be honest. But what drives these owners, these American owners, by the way, are, they still want to get the revenue, right? Like any football team that you own, or anyone that actually that treats their club or football team as a business, so you still want to drive revenue. But that's the thing, right? That's why it's not far from over. Kasi these are still the owners, right? Hindi naman sila nawawala.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. You mentioned about businesses. About when these certain owners treat these football clubs as a business. Tinitignan nila top line or bottom line and top line. Those are the main things that they look at. I think as much as it is in the NBA, that's why there are teams, even though they suck during the season, like last season, the New York Knicks, pero they're actually the highest valued team in the NBA. Even though year in, year out, except with the exception of this year, that they have been down in the dumps, ang taas pa rin ng value nila. Diba? But, you approach that subject kasi, parang capitalist ang dating eh. No?
It is.
How and why won't that culture or type of thinking work in this setup in football?
Okay. So that's a good question, Chip. I would have to say, again, I'm not a pundit, I'm not a ex-player, but just a follower and a supporter of football in general. Pero my honest opinion on that is football itself, its history has been rooted in merit-based competition. Business comes second. Kasi you're going to find, Chip, pag pumunta tayo sa London or England or whatever, in Manchester, you're not just gonna find Manchester United as the biggest club. You're also gonna find lower division or the smaller teams, yung mga amateur leagues. And they just play this out of fun. Even though semi-pro sila, they get paid, sure. Pero it's not as big, right? And it's not a business. It's because it's the love of the game. Doon nagsisimula siya. Number 2, yung fans, right? The fans who have supported these teams, rabid tong mga to. Hindi sila madadala with greed, with corporate greed, with money, with whatever. Hindi sila basta-basta nadadala dyan, right? Kasi these fans have a stake on their own football clubs. And when I say stake, ito yung meron silang percentage, right? They also buy into the shares of the club. So they are technically part owners. Kahit na gaano kaliit yung shares mo, yes. You can buy shares of. That's why I have to commend first when you said about, Italy and Spain joining, the 6 English clubs, Germany wasn't a part of it. Germany did not, dip their toes into the ESL because their policy already states na, hindi talaga sila pwede mag-breakaway because they are not owned by one single entity. They have a rule that's called 50+1, wherein the ownership of a German football club cannot exceed it to a single proprietor, and the fans should still have the parang overall ownership of their own football club. So you talk about Bayern München, the other German leagues.
Bayern München.
Bayern München is the German name, right?
Okay.
Pero these are owned by the fans, right? May stake sila sa kanilang football clubs. FC Barcelona has the same thing. Madrid has the same thing. Any club, kahit na yan na lower league pa yan. Kasi because they believe in it, right? And yung mga clubs na yun, even Manchester United, even Liverpool, in its long history, nagsimula yan as a very small club. That's why yung format, right, as a business kind of approach or capitalistic approach when it comes to football is not going to work because the actual merit of the game is merit-based, or the actual format of the game rather is merit-based. Those are
in the case kasi of Bundesliga football clubs, they're owned by the fans.
They're owned by the fans. Kahit na ano.
The fans have majority stake, kumbaga, in Bundesliga. And that was a rule, parang nabanggit mo kanina, set by Bundesliga, pero hindi siya set in La Liga, unfortunately. In Serie A, or EPL, right? Or in the, whatever the French football league is. I can't pronounce it, so I can't say it. So,
right.
Okay.
And let me just share, pre, kasi the only thing that's really affecting, and that's why they're trying to increase revenue right now, of course, the pandemic happened. It hit us very, very hard. But this is not going to be the answer. Kasi these clubs, right, in a normal setting, these are earning millions, billions of euros or, whatever. These are earning millions of money coming into their games, their merchandise, their promotions, their marketing. They all have a lot of sources of revenue. Pero pagdating sa pandemic, siyempre, lahat na apektuhan. Ngayon, kung ganun yung mangyayari for, these clubs to happen, ang daming effect din na maano yan sa fans. Kasi, when you travel, right, kung kunyari magsa-Champions League ka, you go to, let's say, to Rotterdam, kasi that's where the event is being held. So, fans have to travel. But not everyone can afford to travel from one European country to another. Kahit nasabihin mong it's cheap, not a lot of people, but a lot of people still support their clubs because just so they can watch the game. Number 2, I'm not trying to be, parang communistic about how the football team should be structured. Pero it's just that there should be other ways for them to increase revenue even in the pandemic. Na, I don't know, maybe come up with online matches. They can stream it. They can, have people watch it from the convenience of their own homes. But the thing is, they are doing that, actually. They are doing that. They're starting to doing that. But again, it's not as, parang ang dami pa ring revenue na nawala eh. So they're still trying to make it up. But, you should ask the fans, right? Yun yung gusto kong mangyari sana with, and that's what I pointed out in my article as well. You guys need to talk to your fans. Kailangan mo magkaroon ng discussion, open dialogue with your own fans on how they can help you. Kasi these are also stakeholders eh, diba? And if you are like one person just dictating kung ano yung gusto mo mangyari for your club, which you don't even have any passion for, I'm assuming because you are the one suggesting na magkaroon ka ng breakaway just because of revenue, you won't understand the passion from the fans. Kailangan mo intindihin yung audience mo din. I would have to say. Yun yung nagkaroon ng kamali with the Super League. The timing, number 1, really sucked. Right in the middle of the Premier League season, pre ha. By the way, Manchester United is not even in the Champions League right now. Right? Tapos, in the middle of a global pandemic, biglang karoon ng announcement. That's what really sucked about this Super League. Number 2, the format. Right? Walang competition, walang essence of merit-based football. Nothing at all. Third, at least personally third, that's why I'm just naming it as my third point, nagiging drive nila is yung greed, right? Yung corporate, they want to increase the revenues. That's why at day 1, right, during the start of the first few hours na na-release yung issue, Ang dami na nag-speak out. And it has to stop, right? Because right now, they don't want to make this an issue with football, itong Super League. The Super League should not be the biggest issue because there's still a lot of issues in football right now na hindi pa rin nagkakaroon ng ample discussion around. Racism, that's number one.
So
Equality.
dumagdag lang si Super League pala.
Dumagdag lang si Super League. Parang, di ba, parang, kunyari tayong dalawa nanonood tayo ng movie tapos biglang may umentrada na kalokohan in the middle of our viewing. Ganon yung naramdaman ko when I heard about this news, actually. So, yun. I mean, so idiotic. It's so unashamed. I am very, I mean, not unashamed. I'm ashamed about, this 6 clubs, this big 6, even with Manchester United, for them to even think about na magkaroon ka ng breakaway league. Tapos, to my point, yung owner na yon, kung sino man yung owner ng Manchester United right now, these guys are just custodians. And this is a term that I got from Gary Neville. Custodian lang ang mga owners. Right? Dapat yung custodian lang. You're just caretakers of the club. If you own the club, fine. Pero it's the fans that who have to say, it's the players who have to say, or the management has to say kung ano yung magiging direction. Kasi nawala na walang consultation na nangyari. They just went with the decision. You're gonna see a lot of reaction videos online, with YouTube, from the players themselves to actual fans. You're gonna see the themes revolving around, the passion around the sport. This is not what football is meant to be, and so on. And honestly, no offense, we don't, football doesn't go to American sports and tell them to say, okay, magkaroon kayo ng sariling promotion and relegation kind of format. Right? And American sports usually call themselves world, these world teams, world series, or world champions, right? But they don't even they don't even compete internationally. That's what I mean, right? So but konting perspective naman. I'm not saying na I would go to American sports and say, do this. No, it's not what I'm saying. It's just that this is what football is. Those are my thoughts.
Pero when you say a world champion, do these European football clubs even brand themselves as world champions? Not to be
no.
Siguro singit ko lang yun.
No, they don't. If someone wins the Premiership, so that's the EPL winner. That's it. If someone wins the Championship League, these are the European winners. Kasi the only distinction for you to be world champion is if you win FIFA. Kasi yun yung FIFA, country-based level na competition.
World Cup na.
World Cup. Pero when it comes to Champions League rather, I'm just the European champion. I'm the best in Europe. Ganon lang siya kasimple. And yun yung feedback ko for the Champions League instead of a breakaway. Yung Champions League needs to increase yung scope nila kasi right now it's focusing on Europe. Like what I said, kung world championship lang talaga or world stage, kailangan nila mas inclusive from Latin America, from Southeast Asia. Kasi ang Southeast Asia, they have their own Champions League. Ang South America, they have their own Champions League. So yun yung kailangan siguro ayusin lang. And those are that's the third layer of issues that football is having. It's the corruption behind FIFA, the corruption behind UEFA, yung mga politics that's going on, right? The Federación Internacional de Football Association. Anyway. So yun. Ang daming issues, ang dami pang issues ng football right now that are, in the parang yung next level pa or the other subset. Pero umentrada lang talaga si Super League for some reason. Umepa lang talaga siya in the middle of everything, which is kind of pissing me off when I heard it.
So really right now, has the issue died down? And if the issue has died down, what's next na ba for these European clubs? With how you see things?
So it has died down, number one. I've read some articles already that, again, we said that this is far from over. Like, I've already mentioned my thoughts there. Pero what's next for these clubs? I want them, personally, to be penalized. Kailangan nilang, they have to answer for what their actions are. Kasi it has to stop Parang, if you're saying no to racism in football, you also should say no to this type of behavior that, apparently can just come out from anywhere and you have to put your stamp down. So, wala naman ako narinig so far on how, these teams, so even United, even Liverpool or Chelsea or Arsenal, would be penalized based on what actions they made.
Wala pa nga. Actually, wala pa nga.
Kung matitake off, kasi Gary Neville was actually recommending na take off their points or dock off points from them or even disqualify them from the current league. Kasi, ang pangit talaga yung naging stigma with what happened. What's next for them? Yeah. Go.
Go lang.
No. What's next for these clubs actually? I don't know if it has a call to have a change of ownership, or they have to really think about how their decision making is being structured right now. That's the way I think they can address this issue. Short term, long term, all UEFA, all governing bodies in football right now has to talk about the new age, I would say, on how they're taking on the new age of football. Especially if this pandemic is not going away, let's say for another year, or the next year, or even the year after that.
Which is very possible pa rin, di ba?
Oh, it's very possible. And, my heart right now is going to India right now because I have a team in India. So guys, if you are there, please take care. Pero anyway, that's the thing. Yun yung kailangan nilang isipin long term. These associations and governing bodies have to talk about what the future of football is and not focus on a breakaway league. Kaya nagkakaroon din ng breakaway discussion kasi these governing bodies might not be doing their jobs. They're not organizing anything properly.
Are there changes? Kasi like for example in the NBA, sasabi, the game has changed. The game has changed so much from the 90s up to the 2000s to 2010s. Now we're entering the 2020s. Now we are in 2020s. The game has really changed. Is it the same case with football, particularly with European football?
I wouldn't say it's actually ang hindi nag-change ang pace ng football, especially in the English Premiership. Kasi I would have to say personally, in the English Premiership is the best level of competition when it comes to football. Ang Spanish League is really, it's all about passing eh. It's all about setting up and, death of 1,000 passes. Kumbaga.
Death of 1,000 passes.
And then, ang English Premier League and the Football League in England, sobrang fast-paced niyan. It hasn't changed because possessions, it's a team sport talaga. It's a pinnacle team sport. Because each possession, you can revolutionize the way you're playing it. But it all matters on your individual skill and your ability to really be cohesive with your teammates. Kasi it's 11 players eh.
Niya, diba?
11 players eh. Correct. It's 11 players versus the 5 in basketball. 5 roles, right? You can immediately switch around, especially that NBA right now has been changed drastically positionless basketball. Football cannot be the same thing kasi you have your positions, you have your roles really to play well. Meron kang lineback, meron kang left back, meron kang right back, may center back ka, you have your keeper. I mean, the keeper cannot really immediately switch to a parang striker kind of thing, di ba? So, but yung actual pace, when we talk about the game itself in football, the actual pace, it hasn't changed that much kasi it's always fast-paced eh. Sobrang lagi niyang fast-paced siya na laging piniplay.
I want to shift a bit lang, Carlo, because you were already talking about the different styles of football eh. Which for you, and what you have observed in English and EPL, in La Liga, in Serie A, quickly lang, which among the, and they have their own identities. Yeah, they have their own style of plays.
Yep.
Which for you, do you think is the most attractive or interesting type of football for Filipinos? For our local.
You know what, pre? That's Great question. Fast-paced tayo. We are suited for fast-paced. We can actually, if we had really a good grassroots culture of football in our country, na hindi sana basketball yung nagkaroon ng influence over us, sobrang ganda natin. We can actually compete with the pace that they are experiencing in England. Kasi mabilis tayo tumakbo eh. We don't need height. We don't need that much height, honestly, in football. Kasi it's all about running eh. Running,
so, hindi
passing.
Yung death of 1,000 passes natin.
Uubra yung, well, depende naman sa style eh. Ang passing kasi is really dependent on the team. Pero if it's pace if you're outrunning everybody in the field for the whole 90 minutes, dun magkakaroon ng advantage. Kasi we have stamina eh. We have stamina, we can run, we can take the whatever weather conditions. Maybe not the being cold lang siguro. Pero pag mainit, alam mo naman, right? Kaya natin anuhin yan. And that's the hindi lang natin siguro nakukuha pa yung parang support behind with our ASCALs, right? With our Philippine team. And we don't even have a local tournament for football right now. So, di ba, ang hirap magsimula. Pero there are a lot of Filipinos, there are a lot of Filipino fans who are supporting, the big clubs or even the ASCALs, right, when they were competing. So,
there are semi-commercial leagues right now, pero regionally pa lang. Wala pang national kasi, or wala pang yung tipong, there is nothing like what we have in basketball, yung PBA. Wala pang corporate na ganun na ganun ka-pro. I think a semi-pro or the amateur professional, parang ganun, hybrid of amateur professional leagues.
Right.
Pero regional. And I think it's really big in the Visayas. Diba? Although before, nagkakaroon, I think, with the corporate sponsorship. Pero Visayas, I think it's like the hotbed of,
it is. Barotac Nuevo actually has the FIFA headquarters there. Yeah. In the Philippines, yeah.
So yun. Oo.
Pero pre, ito, question for you.
It's really more really the fast-paced
talaga. That's what suited for us.
That's just yeah. What you were asking something?
Kasi your perspective, pre, you are the basketball guy of our group, right? In our group of friends. You are the basketball guy. So you're much more inculcated with cut. So you are the basketball guy. You are much more familiar with the culture behind, American sports and so on. But what's your take from, that perspective? I'm interested to hear. You said kasi
yeah.
Go.
Sorry, you were saying?
No, go.
Ako kasi I'm not that in-depth in terms of the knowledge in football that you have, or passionate football fans here in the Philippines that have, that kind of love for football. Don't get me wrong. I love my Liverpool FC. I love Liverpool. I've been a fan of Liverpool for more than a decade already. Especially when I started in my first job as a PR person, when I was covering for football. Parang I was thinking, Manchester United, most common guy, etc. Chelsea, Arsenal. But at the time, Liverpool was winning. Parang backstory lang. But ever since then, I've really grown into loving, really grown some affinity towards Liverpool. At times, siguro, they were winning. And then I picked up this book when the Champions League, when LFC won in 2005 in the Champions League. Thank you, Stevie G. And then, fast forward to 2020 when they won the European, when they run the EPL and then the Champions League. So I still have some love for Liverpool. But in terms of the overall landscape of what's going on, dun ako mahina in terms of that. But to share my perspective siguro, yun nga, nasabi ko sa iyo, Carlo, kanina, I was surprised with all the flack that the ESL was getting because in a media standpoint, parang pucha, AC Milan versus Manchester United or Manchester City versus
Juventus,
Barcelona or Juventus. I mean, these are big name clubs. Pero when you're telling me these things na parang it's like an elite league only for the elite.
Yeah.
Parang napaka-inclusive naman nun. Because that, and parang dun ako na-off in a way na parang, parang wag naman tayo magpakagago na these, parang, it's inclusive lang to. It's for us. It's for the well-knowns. Respect. Parang sinabi ni Jose Mourinho, di ba? Respect us. But, it actually alienated Jose Mourinho. A great guy for Manchester United.
Ulul! Ina mo!
We're not gonna cut that. Anyway, going back. I thought lang this really alienated the other club.
Right.
You're going to alienate club like Everton. Oh, come on.
Yeah, exactly my point.
Historically, Everton, fine. Newcastle, even if their heydays are kind of way behind them. But, they had some resurgence. Pero i-alienate mo ang Newcastle, i-alienate mo ang Leicester. Kumbaga, parang... Leicester pala, sorry. I-alienate mo ang Leicester. Para, again, it goes back to parang they have this elitist kind of thinking. That is really off, and that has no place whatsoever in sports.
In sports, yeah, absolutely agree with you.
As in, it really has they really show that elitist mindset. Na parang this is inclusive. This is only for us. F you. Go to the Champions League. Go that league. Parang
exactly.
So doon ko nagigets as to where people were coming from. Maybe in that perspective. No. So maybe it is good that the ESL actually died down, or it really just wala parang bula. Diba?
Right.
But we'll see how it goes, and I would like to see how, like any other team, professional team in the world, be it football, be it basketball, be it baseball, and I would like to see how they cope. What would be the creative programs or initiatives that they can do to at least help the clubs stay afloat? I mean, they should work together with these football organizations that they're in. See what they can do. See what they can do to alleviate to save bottom line. O yan, sige, doon na tayo sa capitalist terms. To take care of our bottom line. Huwag tayong top line. Bottom line na lang. Help us stay afloat. And what can the fans do with regard to that? Maybe they can participate na, support our club by subscribing to our games instead of being season holders of tickets. Maybe you can watch us through these channels, and then just pay for this certain amount. That would really help us stay afloat. That could really help us, really pay for our players. Something to that effect. Diba? Kasi parang community-based approach na yan eh.
Exactly.
Community-based programs, or diba, territorial-based programs. Kumbaga here in the Philippines, we have community panties. Why can't they do the same for community football TV?
No, actually,
football cable games or something like that, right?
The Super League actually will defeat that. Actually, it's happening right now in England. Yung pyramid football's setup, there's actually funding that trickles down towards the lower rank football teams. Pag nagkaroon ng Super League, mawala lahat yan. Kasi may mga football clubs na na kailangan mong bumuo pa ng, they have to fill the gap ng sex eh. So it will actually defeat the purpose. And to your point, Chip, na football is earned. You're not, hindi entitled to mga teams na to. Kasi they actually feel that they have fought for, they're standing in the Champions League. They have fought for being in the Premiership and the EPL. Because they have withstood all odds eh. Kinalaban nila yung best teams in England right now. Kinalaban nila yung best teams in Europe right now. For them to be there. Right? They've earned that place. Yun yung doon ako nagkakaroon ng that's where my passion comes from when it comes to football. Because you've earned it. Hindi ka nandyan lang dahil na hindi ka lang nag-stay dyan kasi you've just named yourself as a club na okay, I'm the best. Nandito lang ako.
Okay. No, parang relating to what we talked about a few episodes ago with regard to having a national champion locally, college basketball teams. Dito naman, prove yourself that you're a winner. Have that certain validation that you're the best European football club through the Champions League.
Yeah. And that's the same passion that you get, Chip, from your March Madness, right? Those teams have earned to be there. They have fought their place to be the national champion talaga. Yun lang yung that's the final take. So, and the final take, or the match point, I actually wanted to get through.
Yeah, let's do the match point.
Match point.
Let's do the match point. Ito, formality's sake. Let's do the match point for what we talked about. Our topic for today's podcast is the European Super League, which Carlo has been triggered about. So impassionate. Naramdaman ko yun. I can relate to his being triggered, for the lack of a better term.
I think my voice
Carlo,
changed somewhere eh.
Yeah.
Pag medyo
hindi ka naman pumiyok.
no, you start with yours, pre.
Okay,
if you
sige.
want.
I think in terms of my match point kasi very simple lang naman. Capitalism can actually drown out any purity that is left in the spirit of sports, in the spirit of competition, in the spirit of fair play, and all those things we learned when we were playing. But with the time that we were playing these sports that we were in, we were kids. We had fun. We learn about the values of winning, the values of losing. I mean, all these things should actually still be the main essence, kumbaga, of these sports that we support or that we still play. Or let's say kung hindi ka naglalaro ng pro sports, but when you're when you're supporting the team, it's about, you know, your love for that team, your loyalty for that club,
right,
for that football club, right? In this case, me for Liverpool FC, Carlo for that
Boo.
my love for Liverpool FC, who has more Champions League victories than whatever Carlos team is. You know?
Oh, shut up!
I feel so. I know, but seriously, I feel so proud because I don't have a stake, you know, but team ko yun eh. I love it when they win, and especially when they had their run in 2020. So parang they were like a juggernaut, and they really made up for their loss in 2018, diba? So parang ano natin to, 2019 pa, 2018 kasi runner up lang siya. 2019 when they emerged as the Champions League winners. So it's the same thing that I feel when it comes to my other teams that I support, the Phoenix Suns in the NBA, the North Carolina Tar Heels in the NCAA, the Los Angeles Rams in football. Parang yun nga parang dun lumalabas yung aking high five vibes, diba? I feel so positive with these things when they win, even if wala akong stake, na wala akong piso na nilagay dyan as I share, but that's my team eh, diba? I feel so validated with all these things. Now with these capitalists, diba, sabi nga natin Carlo before, hey, I'm not gonna name that football club. Pero when this football club was owned by certain Arabian sheiks. Parang,
okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, dahil nila sa pera eh. Totoo naman eh. Yun yung nararamdaman ko eh. Parang binili nila itong dalawang football players from South America. And then paglalaroin nila sa EPL. Para akala mo kung sino ng mayayabang eh. Diba? Ang yayabang, honestly. They were flamboyant. Pero, I mean, sure, natalo sila, but I don't feel that they should be validated as the winners of the EPL in that season. Kasi parang, honestly, parang dinaan nyo lang sa pera eh. Parang nade-devalue yung purity of sports, yung purity of competition, all these fair play values that we learn when we play the games that we love. Wala pag nadadaan sa capitalism. So that's why nasabi ko before, in at the start of this match point, capitalism can actually devalue the sports that we love growing up and that we play and we keep on playing for the love of the game. That's it. That's my match point.
Mine is
I just wanted to stick it in there. Liverpool FC has more Champions League titles than Manchester United. Go on, Carlo, your match point.
Whatever. Shut up. No, my match point is, this is the thing about football. And you know the saying, pre, na, you know, football is played everywhere else in the world, right? We have America and then Philippines, but everywhere else it's football. It's a religion. And this religion, right, like any other religion, if you are touching it with a 10-foot pole from outside the lines, madaming magkokontra niyan, right? Madaming mag-speak out against it. Because this passionate sport that is governed, or that is, you know, that are governed by people around the world na very, very into it. This is a stupid idea, first of all, that it's not really going to fly. But my point is, the UEFA associations, football associations, decision-making bodies right now in football, has to get their shit together. Yun yung kailangan maayos nila. There are more underlying issues right now in the world of sports, which is being taken over, like what Chip said. May capitalism na nangyayari, may greed na nangyayari, may racism na nangyayari. There are more underlying issues bigger right now than this effing Super League. May daming kailangan in-address. If it's going to be a business, in a business standpoint, wherein you have to increase or parang recover your revenue, everyone was affected. Ang daming companies na nawalan ng revenue this year and even last year. So, you have to come up with it like any other corporation, like any other big multinational corporation that have, kumbaga yung fans are like employees all over around the world. You have global employees, kumbaga. Why not have a discussion around that, right? Yun lang yung sa akin. Magkaroon kayo ng better solution making than just a breakaway league. Hindi yan yung solution. I'm gonna keep mine short because I'll probably just repeat everything that I've said at the start. Pero that's it. Like any other corporation, like any other, if you are treating it on a business sense, magkaroon ka lang ng konting out-of-the-box thinking, konting sentido common naman sa mga owners na to. Rather than just, proposing something that that fans will not. Because the way you have proposed this Super League, parang hindi nag-iisip eh. Hindi mo pa inisip kung gaano ka bigat yung mga fans ng mga football fans around the world. Kung paano sila magre-react if they're going to do that. Na wala pang merit-based football na mangyayari, na entitled ka na to be staying in a league na the best lang kayo and then that's it. Come on.
Yeah, the culture of, merit-based football has been embedded talaga, di ba?
Embedded yan sa history ng football, pre. Since time immemorial, when these clubs started. And these clubs, right, Liverpool, Manchester United, Chelsea, kahit na big names sila ngayon, these clubs started off in the 18th century as mga workers too eh. Manchester in 1800s, it was a big port town. Punong-puno ng mga industrial factories. So, the mga players nila are mga mga factory workers lang.
Mga blue collars talaga.
It wasn't really, their success, came from the passion because they wanted to trade. They wanted to build their credibility. They wanted to earn the hardware ng mga championships nila. So, they, as time went by, they capitalized on those success. Kaya lang naman binili yung club kasi malaki na yung supporters nila eh. Right? So, that's why, yun pa lang, yung history pa lang ng clubs na yun, they have already earned to be called the biggest clubs. Because they have fought for that in their entirety, in the club's entirety history nila. So that's my match point. I'm just gonna go and ramble pre pag pinagpatuloy ko pa to. But yeah,
football for the people, by the people.
Oh, and yeah, thanks for mentioning that because Sir Matt Busby, one of the greatest football players in England, said that football without fans is nothing. Yun.
Boom.
So I'd like to end that, with that. Anyway. So thank you everybody. That's the final whistle. Kasi, that's the final whistle for another episode. So visit us on gamehigh.ph.
Wait, Carlo.
Wait.
That song, the song right now playing sounds eerily familiar.
Yeah. Actually, ito yung Manchester United song talaga eh. Hindi yung glory. Hindi yun yung my baby take that. Pero thank you everybody. Visit us on gamehigh.ph to get our latest content. And follow us, of course, on Facebook and Instagram at the GameHighPH to keep us, keep yourselves updated with what's happening. We have, weekly articles that are being released. So, yeah, follow us there.
Of course, guys, if you have any suggestions, violent reactions, just like what my man has here, basically your thoughts on our current episode, guys, we would love to hear from you. Hit us up in the comment section or message us through our Facebook or Instagram pages. Thanks for listening, guys. This is Chip.
And this is Carlo.
Cheers, guys. We'll see you then.
Ciao.